Alright everybody, how's it going? Now that we are kind of cruising through this now, you've been working with HTML, you've been working with all this stuff really well. And one of the things that you're going to be doing is designing or setting up a design of your own website. And from here, this is where I want you to start thinking about templates that are available to you. A template is available on websites. Let me find one like this, Snap Happy, where you can actually look and preview different designs that people have set up ahead of time, and it has the color palette and the CSS and the divisions of your pages already laid out for you. Now obviously you don't have to use the pictures and that, but what it does give you is it'll give you the navigation, the divisions of the page, and an idea of what's possible. And what I want you to be doing is, as you are thinking of your project, so in this particular case it's the business, you need to think of, go and look at businesses that have that fall into that general category, whatever it is. If it's a restaurant, if it's a coffee shop, it's a veterinary clinic, a hospital, a bookstore, whatever it is, go look at websites that are popular. And when you do that, I'm going to show you a couple things that you can do. So for instance, if we're looking at, say, a website like this, Smashing Magazine is a website for web designers. Now, one of the things that you can do when you're here and working with this is that you can look at the actual web construction. Now, one of the ways you do that is you can simply hit, if you have a PC, you can simply hit F12, and it brings up this web bug or these tools. And I have this panel down here, and what this panel does is it gives me the ability to look at different parts of this website. So notice it breaks it all down here. Here's the head region, and this tells me here's the title, the meta names, and all the links. Now you'll notice that a lot of websites run JS or JavaScript, or maybe it's running jQuery, but here's where you can see all that metadata. You can see all that information. Another thing is here in the body. Now obviously I'm gonna select up here and hit Control minus, and I'm gonna shrink this down. One of the things I always like doing is I like to shrink down a whole page so that I can actually see kind of how it looks, where it starts. And I hit Control 0 to bring it back to its natural size, or I can hit Control plus and scale it up if I hit Control 0. So what I do is I kind of look down here, and as I hover over these, it gives me the ability to see the different divisions. So here's the div that they're calling CC, so it's probably for content. Here's a sidebar. Let's look where that is. They've got a division sidebar and then a column on the side. So here is the division for that, and as I tumble this down, you can see this has a lot more. There's a forms, there's other things. So I can actually dissect and go through each one of these, and it'll tell me the divisions, the sizes of it, and all of that. So I can literally study and dissect a web page by looking at these things. And I do this a lot to kind of get a feel for what's going on, and I can see, look, they're running JavaScript. I can see all this stuff that's happening. And also here on the side, it'll give me the CSS. I can actually see the CSS associated with that division. So as I select the division here, notice that this will change, and it'll show me what's going on this page. If there are styling attributes, if you have a embedded or inline, it'll cross out the one that was on the style sheet and then tell you the one that's replaced it. And so something is controlling these attributes different. It's changed than what's on the actual CSS page. Something else you can do, I can go here. I'm going to hit F12 and make that go away. Usually up here in the tools, I can go up, and if I look at tools, I can go to view source. Here the develop tools. That's Control-Shift-I, which will bring up the same exact thing. So if I hit Control-Shift-I, I can toggle that on and off, or if I hit F12, I'll bring it up. Another thing I do a lot when I want to just take a quick look at something, I'll hit Control-U, and let me make this actual size here. And this brings me up the HTML, and I bring up the HTML here, and I can see basically kind of what I've got, what we were just looking at a little bit. And then I can always go and try to look. I'll try to find their CSS and look at the CSS page and see what all is there if I can find it. Sometimes there's tons of stuff and I can't find it. Here's the main CSS, I think. Oh, that doesn't look right. But I would try to look for it. I haven't found it ahead of time, so somewhere I'm sure it's staring me in the face. But anyway, I would look that up and just check it out. So I do that a lot. One of the things is you can see the different things that they are using, the different code. This is stuff that we haven't gotten into in our class as much, but it's definitely stuff you want to start looking at and thinking about, because it's really important, and you want to start implementing it and studying things. So that's one thing I do. Now let's go back to the templating idea. So in our final section of the class, we're going to be looking at CSS Layout, and I really want you to be looking at websites like Templated and going through and selecting something that might work for a project of yours. So for example, I have looked at this project here. I liked the way it looked suitable. So what I do is I download this. When I download it, I'll get it in my downloads folder, and I gotta find it. So I get this zip file. So I'm going to take this zip file, I'm going to cut it out of here, and I'm certainly going to put it in my documents, or put it in my web folder where I want things to be. So in this particular case, I'm going to go to my digital media, go to my website, and I'm going to put it into, I'm just going to make a new folder. So I'm going to say templated, put it in my template demo, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to paste this. Now I'm going to extract that out, and I want you to see kind of what we have here. I'm going to extract it here in this folder. And what I love about this is that it's really quite nice, because it gives you a basic structure. So here's my index page. It gives me my fonts, CSS, my default. It gives me some images to work with. And then it's got some fonts too as well. And so this, if I were to open this HTML up in Google, you're going to see that I get this. And so here is that web page all laid out for me. So I can start with this. Okay, so here is, for instance, this is a header. If we look at this, if I want to look at this and Control-U, I can look at this. It gives me the design information, who made it, and then I can look at all the content, and of course this is where you want to fill in your keywords, so it lays things out for you really, really well. I can go in then and modify these things. So for example, if I go in and I use my text editor, I use Dreamweaver or whatever, I'm going to use this. I used Crimson Editor. And so if I run this and open this up with my Crimson Editor, I'm going to open up that document. I'm going to go find it real quick. And so I think I'm going to go to my computer and go to go to my files here, my documents, and I gotta find them. Here we go. Alright, so if I go to my website and then go down to templated demo, here is my index. If I go here, I open this up and I start to modify things. So here's my containers. I can change that, I can do that if I want, but here's that header. Well formed. Okay, and I can make that header have a link, and I can change this instead of whatever it is. I can say digital, and then I can say media, so, or whatever the title is, and I save this, and I go back to that page that I was looking at. I gotta find it here. Let's find it. I must have closed it, so here we go. I'll go back. So I'll go back here and say open with Google Chrome again. And when I change that, I get this. So there, I've changed this out. And I can make these things smaller by adjusting the CSS. Obviously, I can open up my CSS. If I go here and I open up the CSS for the default page, I open that. Here we go. And if I want to start making and changing things, I can do so by looking at, I mean, obviously I need to know what these certain things are. So this division logo class is in a container. I have to go and look that up. So I become familiar then with this CSS, and I go down and I start making changes. So there's for the, and here's for the header or the logo. And so if I wanted to change things like its size or the size of the font size, let's say I wanted that to be big. I was just doing this for an extreme example. If I refresh that, notice that that got really big. So I'm controlling this. And now I'm going to build these things to be something that I want. Now, so for example, I have done this. I'm actually going to use this template for a digital media site that I'm working on. And so let me show you what I have been working with so far. Let me see if I have it. Let me see this. Let me go down. I'll show you. Let me show it to you here. So I'm actually modifying this, and I've been changing some things, and I've actually added some JavaScript. And so this is what I have currently. So I took that. I actually got some new Google fonts. I slimmed down the banner here. I went in and I changed this. I added more columns just by modifying the HTML. I've added galleries, you know, so I've got containers here, and I'm going in. I get familiar with the containers. Here's the div box 1, and instead of having 3 boxes like they provided, I made more boxes, and then I styled those in box 3. So here's box 3. I made box 4, and those contain my content for our digital media information. I went and found a JavaScript gallery that I'm going to be using, and I inserted that. These are the default pictures that came with it, but I'm actually going to be looking at some other types of galleries, and I put in a gallery menu on the side that I'm going to possibly implement, but I'm looking at some other types of galleries as well. So I changed up my links here, and I've just modified it. I didn't take everything that was provided. I didn't need everything. So for instance, I didn't use this stuff or any of this. It's there for me, and I might end up going back to it. But for now, I didn't need it. So that wasn't super important to me. So since that wasn't important to me, you know, I just removed it. But I didn't. I just hid it with a comment, and I'll come back to it. So that's what I want you to be doing for your final project, is using templates that exist. You don't have to design everything from scratch. Believe it or not, there's some really nice free stuff out there that you can use. You certainly can design everything from scratch, but you don't have to. And working with it, and actually just giving a good, strong, a good, solid foundation, you can come up with a nice design by modifying what's already been done. All right, so I wanted you to see that, and I want you to be thinking about, for your final project, for your midterm, you're going to be presenting me these concepts, these ideas, and then you're going to be putting it all together in your final project.